We're live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and it's a beautiful, sacred Sunday morning. But I want to acknowledge all of you who end up watching the replay. So if you're watching the replay and the recording, welcome. It's great to have you with us. And we've got a really special show this morning. We're going to be talking about difficult topics, but with the underlying understanding that some of us are blessed to be in a chapter or a time or a season of our life where we're experiencing gratitude and joy. And of course, when we're in that attitude of gratitude, when we're in that joyfulness, life feels really, really good. And for those of us that happen to be in that time of life, please watch this show as you'll get some tools as to how to help those friends, family members that are not in that time of life. And for any of you that are in a challenging time of life, depression, maybe reaching more for supports in drugs or alcohol or other compulsions that bring temporary relief but long-term hurtful consequences. We've all been there. Everyone on this call, on this webinar, has been there. We're also going to be providing some tools. So welcome. It's always beautiful to be with you. And I really want to especially welcome those of you that are in our Zoom room live. And we really want today to be interactive. So please, those of you, and welcome, I see a lot of our friends, a lot of regulars are with us, thank you. Please pop any thoughts, comments, or questions into the chat box, and I will read them to our panelists. And we may even bring one or two of you on camera, possibly. So we want to make it very interactive so we can really tackle these really incredible challenges. And again, of course, I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and I'm going to introduce to you who we've got with us today. First off, that wonderful, wild, mystic monastery abbot, our good friend Jerry Anderson, and he's the Wild Abbot of the Mystic Monastery. What is the Mystic Monastery? Well, you can go back and see one of the shows we did on that, but I'll give you briefly. He has been granted the stewardship of 10,000 acres of pristine land in Puerto Rico. And they are their own ecclesiastical nation. He's got seats at the United Nations. That's so cool. But more than that external reality, why has God life granted it to this particular person? It's because he's one of the most open-hearted, loving, experienced human beings I know. His experiences are remarkable. So welcome, Jerry. It's really good to have you with us. And one of my absolute favorite musical artists ever, one of the great blessings of my last year has been meeting people like Jerry and Johanna. And of course, we've had Johanna OneHeart on this show before, on Saturday Night Live. She's like it. She's the it girl when it comes to music for our Global Peace Tribe. And I'm so grateful we get more Johanna. And we were talking about what to do for the show. And I was like, could we just have 90 minutes of Johanna playing music, please? But we will do a little bit of communication as well. So welcome, Johanna. Great to have you with us. And Johanna introduced me actually to this extraordinary gentleman. This is Leland Holgate. And thank you, Johanna, for the connection and the introduction to Leland. And Leland's had an amazing life. He was in the military and went through a tremendous number of missions during the military. And then when he was released, he had an accident and was a quadriplegic, told he would never walk again. And through his self-determination and yoga, and of course, Johanna is quite the yogini, and both Johanna and Leland have a history of using yoga to overcome very serious physical challenges, health challenges, and the challenges of addiction. Also want to acknowledge that Leland's beloved father, who was an airborne ranger, committed suicide in 2016, I recall. And that really set Leland on his mission of supporting those returning warriors. And so thank you, Leland, for the amazing work that you did.
Thank you.
So we've got 3 amazing souls here with us on Sacred Sunday. And we're going to hear from everybody. Would love to hear your thoughts, comments, and questions. But I just am jonesing for some music. So I'm going to put the spotlight on this gal.
You're muted.
We're not hearing anything. We're not hearing music. You look great. Love watching your beautiful ding. Up. Okay. I am going to.
How about I unmute myself? But you know where I'm going. You can get up and dance. You can clap. We're going to bring it up before we take it into the heart space and go deep. Okay?
All right. Perfect.
All right. So this is called happiness.
Oh my God, that is such a great song.
Yes.
I love that song. Absolutely love it. I'm going to play it over and over and over. It's already playing over and over in my head. She played it last night and I can't get it out of my head. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good medicine.
So, while you were playing it, it immediately came into a question that I'd love to hear each of you answer. What is each of your ways of creating happiness when you don't wake up with it? When it's not there, how do you find it? How do you cultivate it?
That's a really, really good one. For me, I work a lot in the neurolinguistic programming space. So the best way, especially early in the morning, your brain is already in theta state for the first 5 to 20 minutes. So that makes you super, super programmable. So those are like the perfect moments to wake up, look at myself in the mirror and tell myself that I'm happy and tell myself that I'm amazing and that I love myself and it's going to be an amazing day. And even if you're not there in that headspace, I call it renting the philosophy until it takes hold. And it's something when you practice those positive affirmations in the morning, it really wakes up that happiness inside of me. It allows me to program myself to be what I want, even if I didn't wake up in that mood.
Leland, that's a great tip. And I did not know that about the early morning programmable option, right?
Yeah.
So that's really, really good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Johanna, look, Jerry started to come forward. So Jerry, you're up.
Well, I would say something very similar in that it's a decision. It's not which way the wind is going today or where your astrology chart is or whatever. It's a decision. It's like Leland said, it's like you speak to yourself. And, sometimes we think that life is about what we thought it was. But really, it's all about how we react to what happened. I hear in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if it's true, but I hear in Saudi Arabia when those sheiks run into each other, they never cuss each other out, get all upset. They say, isn't it amazing how Allah has had us to meet? Mm-hmm. What a completely different reframing, a word from there, and of your existence, right? So sometimes we just have to kind of like notice it was a reaction that we learned from our childhood, from television, or wherever we saw this reaction, and we can make a decision to react different in a space of joy, love, compassion, like we're talking.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Johanna, I'm putting the spotlight on you. You're going to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, you just heard it. The medicine is the music for me. It always has been. I remember the first song I ever wrote. I was 9 years old and I was mad at my mom. I was angry. I was so mad. I think she was a school teacher and she didn't have enough time for me. So I was throwing books under her door. Like I was sliding them under her door because she'd had her door closed. And I was just finding so much anger. And she said, Joe, why don't you find something creative to do? Because, the opposite of victim is creativity, which I know now in my adult life after so much strife, of course, And so I go and I get real quiet. I lock myself in my room and I write a song. And I don't know if it was the song Just a Little More Love, but the second song, maybe it was the first or the second song, but it was a song called Just a Little More Love. It was the opposite of the anger that I was feeling. Just a little more love, that's all we need. Just a little more hope for the world to see. Just a little more love. And then I talk about world issues instead of this anger that I'm feeling in this tiny microcosm of my world with my mom at that moment, right? So how do I turn it around? I turn it around. Exact opposite. Smile therapy. I wake up, I feel like crap. I had a hard day yesterday. I lost a friend, I lost my job, whatever. What do? I wake up, I run my tongue along my teeth, as a good yogi would do. Notice where I am in my internal landscape. And do a meditation and put a smile on my face. And remind myself, again, like Leland was saying, that I am love. I am all of the things that I feel that I'm missing are within my internal landscape if I can find that space. And man, I don't want to say that it's easy on a hard day to get out of bed. It's not, right? It's okay. It's okay to stay there. Some moments you need to stay there to find what's true, to find what's real, to find what's in your heart that is hope, that is joy. And then go towards that, move towards that. And so for me, yoga and music. Music is medicine. It actually retrains our neural pathways when we chant. We're accessing parts of our brain that no other music can access. Our sympathetic and parasympathetic are working simultaneously and then rebalancing our nervous system through the action of singing, through breath, through pranayama. So through sound, vibration, and meditation, my whole life can change within 30 minutes. It's been an incredible journey. And then you add the physical body to that. What power this teacher has that we are living within every moment, through the breath, through the sound, through just tuning in. Just a little more love. It's all we need. Just a little more hope for the world to see right here. I didn't know my 9-year-old was so wise until this moment when I started speaking about that song. But
Well, you know, and there's something really beautiful about that little 9-year-old, little Joe.
Josie.
And think about what little Josie, that song, A Little More Love, that's what she was wanting from mom, right? So what's beautiful is in your micro level, micro world, I just want a little more love from you, mom. And that does apply in the macro as well. So it's actually really beautiful. The wisdom born out of the vulnerability of that little girl. And I would imagine that probably your greatest creative expressions were born out of your own personal vulnerability that then you took, as your mother taught you, into that personal vulnerability, that personal pain that you were in, and give it a creative expression.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all have that power within ourselves to tune in and find what's true, what's good, what resonates for us to get the smile back on our faces. Or maybe we just start smiling and we start laughing until it's true. Laughter yoga.
Yeah, laughter yoga. I don't know if
I'm already feeling happier.
Yeah, laughter yoga is a trip. It really is a trip, especially when you start off. And I experienced, the first time I experienced laughter yoga, it was at a big retreat that I was teaching at. And my girlfriend was like, come on, laughter yoga. And I was grumpy and I was tired and cranky in the morning. The last thing I wanted to do was laughter yoga. And there's that moment when you have a choice of, am I going to stay in Grinch mode or am I going to surrender to the vibration all around me? And it really, there's that choice point, right? To what degree am I attached to, and to what degree am I going to relax into this laughter that's happening all around me? I remember that moment. I chose the laughter, but it took a moment. There was a moment I stayed in Grinch mode. It's like that option was there, and there's always the option, well, I'm just going to go leave. I'm not all these stupid people laughing, I didn't do that likely, but it's there, right? That choice is there. So I guess that's the next question for everybody. And it may be variations on what you already said, but when you're in that moment of choice of doing something that is self-destructive, that is going to keep you in contraction, versus a choice that's going to take you into expansion, take you out of that unpleasant space. Again, for each of you, I'd love to hear what your tip is. What's a tip or a tool that comes up?
The big one for me is it kind of goes along with what we've all been talking about, right? Is changing the story and recognizing the power that you have. Because of course, whenever you're in that victim mentality, the brain does the spotlight effect, where it's going to make sure it spotlights everything that's going to prove that you're angry, that's going to prove that you're upset, that's going to prove that you're not loved or forgotten or whatever else. And then it's up to us to understand that we have the power to completely change that and do a 180. for all of us with the reticular activating system in our brain, it really just focuses in on whatever you're focusing on. So what you focus on, you feel. So I've had plenty of those moments, you know, you feel like you're just the grouchy guy. I've had it before I go in to teach yoga classes before, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I got to go do this. You know, and then I change that story for myself and I remind myself of all the blessings that are going to come from making that shift. And that what I'm feeling right now and what I'm thinking right now is what I'm choosing to focus on. So I can take that focus onto something else and put it towards something more positive or uplifting or something more happy.
Beautiful. Thank you, Leland. And I appreciate your honesty that even before teaching yoga, you have to shift from grouchy yoga teacher into drop-in yoga teacher. Absolutely. It's beautiful. Thank you. Jerry, what's your tip?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I think that for me personally is my community. You know, maybe one of the monks will say, because they call me dad, they'll say, Dad, that doesn't look good on you. or something, you know, I just passed in January through my mom passing, and you know, there was a lot of crazy struggles, and the community around me was probably the most blessing to me in that period.
Beautiful.
Just, you know, hey.
Well, you know, and that's true. Creating community and having community is so important. And, you know, I want to acknowledge again, any of us that have tribe, that have community, be grateful.
Oh,
And for those, anybody watching who's really feeling isolated and lonely, it's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, look at Johanna, exactly. I'm going to go to gallery view. And that's why with Global Peace Tribe, you know, we really want to reach out. And I want to encourage everybody, if you're in a time where you've got community, take a moment every day to think about who's someone I know who might be lonely. Reach out to them. Reaching out to someone who is feeling isolated is one of the greatest acts of kindness any of us can do. And if you happen to be in that state where you're feeling really isolated, reach out to someone for connection. Yeah.
maybe we recommend Deborah's book, Finding Your Tribe.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'll pull. I think I've got that. I'll find that. I'll pull it up a little bit later because that's a really good point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Johanna, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, as we've been talking about, it's obviously a choice. And that moment when we're choosing is it's really powerful to tune in and tune out. Not tuning out, checking out, but tuning out, like tuning in with other human beings who care. You know, we were talking about, yeah, let's reach out to people who are feeling isolated. Well, those isolated people also in those moments when it just feels like daggers to pick up the phone and actually be vulnerable and say, hey, I need someone. I've never regretted doing that. Not once have I regretted calling a friend or calling my therapist or going to a yoga practice or doing a chanting practice. I don't think I've regretted any of those things ever in my life. And so it's that choice point. How do we do that? How do we make that choice? And for me, it's simple things like making it easy. Having my yoga mat out right there for me to practice on first thing in the morning. Having my harmonium right there with whatever reading I'm doing, you know, or chanting practice that I'm learning in Sanskrit. Things that ground me. Making the tools that we have accessible to us during those weak moments is so important. Because they're there. They're always there. And so making that choice really easy is the most important thing. Or like with an early meditator, you know, when I'm working with a new client, you bring it back to just the breath, just the simple root chakra things, you know, doing your dishes as if God is there with you doing the dishes, you know. And in recovery, you know, they talk a lot about a God-shaped hole that we've had, that we've been grasping to fill voids, right? And it's a God-shaped hole that we've been moving through life with. God being spirit, great spirit, divine presence, whatever is non-triggering to the human being who needs it. It's a sense of something larger, something greater, something more expansive than our own self-will run riot, which we're really easily victim to, or samskaras, as yoga says. I'm getting a little bit deep in the yoga philosophy moment, but it's so important.
Really.
Yeah. And it's yoga is life. It's not separate from us. And that's the other thing. It's just like that one breath when you get cut off at the bank, you know, that one breath at the traffic light when that a-hole, you know, whatever happens, whatever that we could judge and go into our sympathetic nervous system and get really angry and get, you know, fight or flighty, you know, there's all these options that we have. And tuning into the yoga of, as Jerry and Leland and you, Scott, we've all been saying the yoga of basically our enlightened heart always knows the way. It's like this intuitive human that always lives within. The Divine Mother is something that I like to chant to because I can give her anything that's not serving me. It's food for her. All of the yucky that I feel in my heart, the darkness, the despair, all of these human nature things that happen, I can give it back to the Divine Mother who's always beneath us. It's a rooting, grounding energy that's larger than me. You know, so if God is a trigger, there's always a way around it, guys.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to share something that Nancy, one of our wonderful regulars, shared. There we go. Nancy writes, "This morning I had a hate me moment. And so I decided to love the hate. And I shocked myself because I started to hit my head and body, and yet it felt amazingly good. And then I realized it stirred my energy in a fun and wholesome way. And I got laughing, and I continued smacking my body all over and over, and it felt so much better. Who'd have thunk it?" So I loved myself even more then. That's a great story, Nancy. Thank you so much. I love that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wisdom to that. Sorry, excuse me.
No, go for it,
But
Johanna.
shaking trauma therapy is one of the most powerful, profound things that you can do. You know, shaking your body after something is excessively triggering is one of the most powerful things, or waking up your body with your hands all over your body. Yoga has so many options for us to physically, somatically move through these emotions, these things that we're working through.
Yeah, Nancy, you had no idea, but you were practicing yoga.
Good on you, girl.
Yeah.
So is that called whacking ourselves yoga? Laughter yoga, whacking ourselves yoga. One of our, another regular from Facebook, George writes, "When I leave my yoga mat, the calm centered me did not stay with me or come along with me. It took Tai Chi to get that to happen. And it's challenging for me because I have a hearing disability." So thank you, George, for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, we all have to find our cocktail. We all have to find our particular combination of ways and experiences. And of course, there's no one way. But you know, like hearing you talk about yoga inspires me to do more yoga. Reading George inspires me to do Tai Chi. I'm not quite ready to hit myself. I'm not quite there yet, but I'll play with it. You know, one
I'll do
thing.
it for you.
Okay, great. Actually, you know, one serious thing that is true is that there you guys go. Okay, there we go.
It actually
I was looking at a chart.
that was yoga right there in pop media.
You know, it's been proven actually, I'm sure Leland is aware, hip to this, that people suffering from PTSD need sound and movement to release the trauma. Trauma is trapped in ourselves. So talk therapy is not enough. Look, I'm a talk therapy coach, but it's not enough. You need somatic healing. You need sound and movement. So I'd love Leland, anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge, actually. So we use a lot of harmonic healing techniques, shamanic sounds. We get people doing that, and it literally reprograms the body and releases that trauma. So that's what somatic-based psychotherapy does, is it discharges that trauma while resetting the autonomic nervous system. Like Johanna was talking about, with coming from sympathetic, which is the activated conscious thinking awareness, all the way to the parasympathetic, which is the more relaxed state of being. So we noticed that all of these things mixed together, especially with the tremble therapy as well, really works all of that out of the tissues. Because you're right, it's one of my favorite books by Basil van der Kolk is How the Body Keeps Score. And it talks all about that, how it literally stores itself in your organs and your tissues and your muscles. And it's up to us to move that out with either music or sound therapy or any other kind of somatic-based therapy that's out there. And that's what we use the most as well. And there's so many different forms. I love it.
So then I got a question for you. As I'm picturing your work with these returning vets, I'm picturing these pretty macho dudes.
Yeah.
How do you get these macho dudes to do yoga or to do sound and movement? How do you make that happen?
That's a great question, actually, because I remember me when I found yoga at 20, I was like, no thanks. I don't wear Lululemon, and I'm not a skinny lady and all that good stuff. So, that vision that these macho guys like myself in the past have, when they come in and they see me as the teacher, immediately their guard goes down just a little bit, because they're like, okay, I've never really had a dude teach me yoga, and here is a combat vet as well. So that already discharges the situation just a little bit, diffuses that tension for them.
Yeah.
And then for them, since they're veterans, I mean, we can't help it. Mouth of a sailor, it came from us, of course, but they get a little swear-y when they're in my classes. So when I'm doing my veteran-based classes, some swear words come out, and they feel like we're in the field, and we're doing some things together. So it really helps diffuse that tension for them.
That's beautiful. We had a Mr. Rogers moment just now. Mr. Rogers always had a new word. So we have a new word today, swearapy. Boys and girls, today's word for the day is swearapy. That's what you do when you want to turn on a returning vet to yoga, swearapy. I love it.
I have a feeling that my participants in my lullaby yoga classes are exactly the opposite of your clientele, actually. I get lots of moms, grandmas, daughters, maybe a father and a daughter, maybe one or two men in each class. So maybe if you taught my lullaby yoga class and I taught your class, we might get some cross-marketing that would work well.
I was just thinking that before you said it. I was like, we should totally switch one day and see what their reaction is.
Yeah, man, it would be really amazing. I mean, we teach the same things, and that's the hilarious part, is that we attract different, complete opposites. And we're teaching the same thing because of branding. People just go to you and you.
Right.
So yeah, let's switch it someday. That would be really fun.
Well, let's do it at one of our upcoming retreats. We've got these 3 retreats happening, one in the Bay Area, one in Maui. I know you guys it would probably be tough to get you guys.
It sounds horrible.
I'm actually already planning a Maui. When?
We're going to be.
Maybe I can do both.
We're doing a week-long in Maui, September 14 to 21, at a gorgeous estate on the jungle side of the island in Puelo. It's where I shot my movie. It's where I've done workshops, TV shows. It's an amazing retreat. And wouldn't it be cool to have both of you there? And that's where we can experience both ways. We can experience, in the morning, we'll do swearapy yoga. In the evening, we'll do lullaby yoga.
That sounds perfect.
And that's how things happen. We had Kristen Hoffman.
Swearapy yoga. I'm going to TM it. Oh wait, it was Leland's idea. Are you gonna fight me for it? Sorry to interrupt, Scott. I'm just
That's
really
all
cracking
right.
up over here.
Listen, I think something was born this morning that we had maybe 2 months ago. We had as our musicians Cornflower and Kristen Hoffman, and they had never met, and they both were like totally grooving on each other. She's up in upstate New York, and he's in Ashland, Oregon, and now they're going to do a workshop together, sponsored by Global Peace Tribe. So I think we should, do a Global Peace Tribe, Leland, Johanna, the two the two forms of yoga.
Let's do it. Swearapy and lullaby yoga.
In
Therapy
Maui in
and-
September, and wherever else you said, whenever else. Sounds good too. I'll have to
I'm
look at
so
my
down.
calendar.
Good, good. I'm serious. We're going to do this. So for
I love
everybody,
it.
since we're talking about the retreats, we're going to be in Woodside, California. That's in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's up in the hills above Stanford University. Gorgeous estate. And that's going to be July 15 to 19. Then we are here today and gone to Maui, September 14, September 21. And then we're going to be in Asheville, North Carolina, from October 8th through the 12th. And Asheville is a really also a beautiful place. And what's going to be fun about that is last week, my guest on the Sacred Sunday show was Daniel Brinkley. And Daniel lives in the Carolinas, so he's going to be at our Asheville, North Carolina retreat.
I have so much tribe in North Carolina. It's ridiculous. When you said that, I was like, shoot. I
Yeah.
actually have to be out there for my birthday
A lot of
in
people,
November, early November. Every
a
year.
lot of people are leaving California and they're heading north to Oregon and Washington. And a lot of them are heading to Austin, Texas and Asheville, North Carolina is what I've observed. There seem to
Yeah.
be real hot spots for our tribe.
There's been a lot of crossover for years. It's been amazing. So touring the country has been so fun because I see the people that are sometimes on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and and everyone flips at certain times of the year. They flip
Yeah.
back.
And we got a lot of vets in North Carolina too. That's actually where I went to the first jump school, so we can get some of them involved.
Oh, there we go. It's expanding. Let's just all go on tour together. It's
And
happening.
I'll say I have tribe in Asheville too.
I
Well,
have the Shakti tribe. I ran some female festivals out there, actually. It's funny. You've got the vets. I'll bring the women, you bring the men. It'll be a hoedown. People will get married.
amazing
We'll
mix.
officiate some weddings afterwards,
I just got my ordination, by the way, so I can help with that too.
I'm working on it.
I officiate weddings, and it's the most wonderful experience in the world. I just did a wedding about a month ago,
Nice.
and it's really cool officiating weddings. I don't want to go a moment longer without more Johanna music.
Oh, I had a feeling you'd
Bless
say
us with
that.
another song.
Oh man, we've been so happy. I'm gonna bring it down a notch and dust off an old favorite. This is on an album that I have like 5 copies of left, from when I was 18 years old. It's called-
Wow, we're gonna have to do a show on the history of Johanna and her music. Like, this was when I was 9. This is when I was 18.
And I got to get one of those
It's like
last 5
chronology.
and get it signed and put it in a glass case.
Yeah, I should probably be selling those for more than $5 to get rid of them, right? I'm like, get rid of them, bye-bye.
Yeah, they're like collector's items now.
Yeah, that album's called Stolen Grace. You better hit me up. It's $500 now. I've just changed my price. So this one's actually, I'm glad we were on an up note because it's a little bit of a downer, but it's also a prayer. It's one of my earliest childhood projects was trying to save my aunt's life. And she was very depressed. I was 8 when that began, I think. So thank goodness the music was already in me through this process of watching her decline in mental institutions and doing the best I could to keep her here. And so, anyone who's gone through this, let's just take a breath. Anyone who hasn't gone through it, let's just take a breath. And send our energy to those who are suffering. Send our energy to those who don't remember their what for, why they're here. We're always here for a reason. Take a deep breath into your own heart space. Remember why you're here. If not just to breathe, just to be breathed. This one's called Dear Kathy. Well, hello, I think I know you from somewhere. Oh, that's right, it's that dark iciness in your eyes, yeah, that you could never disguise. And I tell her, can't you hold on for one more night? Everything is gonna be alright, it's gonna be alright. I can see it in your eyes. It's in your eyes. You've got the power to take flight. Da 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 da. I was so young and you were so self-absorbed. And I called to you, but you shut the door on this world. And when you could no longer smile, I lay my head on the grave of your laughter. For a while, just wanna lay here for a while, lay here for a while, be here for a while, be here for a while. And I tell her, can't you hold on for one more night? Everything be alright, be alright, be alright. I can see it in my own eyes, my own eyes. We've got the power to take flight. I'll take flight. You've taken flight, taken flight, taken flight, taken flight, taken flight. Da 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 da.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you.
I can see Jerry and Leland also had really powerful experiences with that. And I just want to share vulnerably about mine. You know, my wife passed away almost 10 years ago. And something I've never shared with you, Joanna, is it's always kind of a trip to look at you because you two look so remarkably alike. I don't know anyone I've met since she died that is so similar, both physically and energetically. Tall, blonde, angelic, deep heart, deep soul. And her death, as she died, the truth is it was this incredibly beautiful liberation. And because I was so connected to her, there was like this juxtaposition between the human experience of, oh my God, my wife is dying, and the awareness that she was flying home and liberating. And I experienced her liberation. We all did. There were about 10 of us in the room when she passed. And so that song really hit me on a lot of levels. So, thank you. And Jerry, I'm adding you to the spotlight because I'm imagining knowing that your mother passed recently.
Yes, and my mom's favorite line was, "It'll be all right." It's very intense. Thank you, Johanna.
Leland, what did that amazing song invoke for you? Yeah.
The same, just the watching somebody go through that, and Joanna and I have talked about it. It seems like a very similar experience with what she dealt with her aunt and what I dealt with my dad. And funny enough, one of the things that he would always say is, "It's all going to be all right." So that was pretty special.
So that brings up a beautiful question for all of us. What, in the face of pain, in the face of a hard situation, what does "it's going to be all right" really mean? And how do we get there?
That's a really, really good question. It's something that I had to visit with myself all the time. Because I think we all have expectations, right? We all have these things that we want to happen. And if they happen, I'll be all right. But "it's all going to be all right" is, for me, no matter what happens, it's all going to be all right, because I have that power inside of myself to make whatever shift or whatever change is necessary to attack the challenge of the day or to overcome the obstacle that's in my way.
Beautiful. Jerry?
Yeah. As the ecclesiastical part of this team, I would say Jesus said a very smart alecky sentence. He said, "The reason that you don't have is because you have not asked." And so I would say to people, I like to first reframe the whole idea of a problem as a challenge, because that's a little more easy to work with than a problem. And if people are going through challenges, the most basic thing I can say is pray. But then also you have to learn how to listen to the answer. What is the direction? Following your spirit, like the guys of Johanna and all have said, it's there. We just have to listen and ask. So from the spiritual side of things, prayer and meditation, listening is the secret to really staying aligned in your place.
Beautiful. Thank you. Johanna, what comes up for you?
These were eloquent answers, and also, again, I think we spoke a little bit about it last night, just that no matter what is served, that it just is. It is all right, because it has to be all right, because it's what God gave us, or Spirit gave us. It's our Dharma path to learn about this in this moment, or our calling to go into the darkness to find the light. And so like in Hinduism, we might have a Kali moment being kind of like 2020, right? You know, just everything just blows up and you're like, what just happened? My whole life, my world, like everything looks different. You're on your head and you think there's no blessing that can come out of this, right? Either you think that or you trust. And you know that Great Spirit or Kali or whatever energy is teaching you a lesson in that moment. That you just had the whole world cleared out for you.
Yes.
And it's your choice to see that as a blessing in that moment. That it is all right. That, man, what a beautiful blessing. I wouldn't have fast forwarded 30 years and known that I would be singing these sacred songs and healing the planet and having people come up to me after concerts and say, your music saved my life tonight. I never would have known that when I lost my aunt 30 years ago. So everything is all right. I took flight, you know, and we as human beings have a choice. I could have not wasted 10 years of my life in addiction before figuring it out at 22, spent my 23rd birthday in treatment, best birthday present I ever got. But this is a real thing that I'm going to touch on. When someone close to us commits suicide, their darkness attaches to us for a while. Their pain, their suffering, their pain body has a way of attaching and becoming your own if you aren't careful. And so these practices that we're talking about, it's so important to know that we have no responsibility over anyone else but our own heart, our own healing, our own practice, and our own journey, right? Everything is all right because I couldn't save my aunt. She was supposed to go take flight in her way, and I get to take flight in my way. And at 12 years old, I didn't have the capacity to choose to not go down the darkness addiction road to forget what I'd gone through. Now, a little bit wiser, a little bit older, I might have the capacity to make a different choice because we're having these wisdom conversations right now. So that's why I'm here. Thank you, Scott, for bringing us here. Because we don't need to take what's not ours on. When we lose someone that's close to us, we need to let them go because that's where they are. Fight with reality or receive reality as it is.
There, thank you. Lots of wisdom there.
Are we allowed to interview the interviewer?
Did I just go on a sermon? Sorry.
That was great.
I want to read Barbara, one of our people watching on Facebook, wrote, both my mother and my brother had mental illness, and as a child, I just couldn't fix it. Listening to Johanna's song was healing just now to my inner child. I want to riff for a moment on what you just said, Johanna, because it is true when we lose loved ones. Jerry's mother, Leland's father, Johanna, people you've lost, my wife. And I walked my father when I was 22, my mother about 12 years ago, my wife 10 years ago through their death. All three of them, I walked them through it. And that process of letting go, finding that sweet spot of maintaining the love while letting them go. It's practice. And I want to share two things. A word that's helped me is bittersweet. It's bitter that they're gone, and it's sweet that I still miss them so much. Because that's the love that never dies. The other thing, and I can share this because of who we are, she died in November, and the following May, I did a mushroom journey up in Mount Shasta, and I had a very beautiful connection with her. And she said, please differentiate between your memories of who I was as a personality and who I am now. And your memories are precious, and enjoy the memories. They're beautiful. But I am now a field of energy. I'm no longer that personality. I'm now a field of energy. And that's been such a wonderful thing for me to contemplate. And for the first year or two, many of us had experiences, dreams, lucid dreams, and then just moved on. My father, when he died, I had several dynamic lucid dreams about him, and then they became less and less. And the very last one, he no longer recognized who I was. He just knew that I was a soul. And he said, I just want to let you know, I'm moving into a world of sound and color, so we won't be having any more of these experiences. Now, those are my experiences with my father who passed, my wife who passed. I think there's such a, just as the human experience is so diverse, right? Just all four of us, we come together in communion, but we've had completely different lives. Likewise, I think what happens when we pass is equally diverse. There's no one thing. Some people see Jesus, some people see the golden light, some people reincarnate, some people hang out on the astral plane forever. I mean, some people get stuck in what we call ghosts. You know, there's a wide variety of experiences that happen when we pass. And it's important for us to remember that, just like there's a wide variety of human experiences. So anyway, those are some of my sharings that came up for me based on what I'm hearing today. So thank you. And that beautiful song.
Yeah.
So.
It's, you know, this radical vulnerability that's become kind of in the last few years. I think it's hot. It's great, you know, because people are becoming who they are rather than who they are pretending to be on social media.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
huge.
for that.
It's huge, and I love being part of these pioneers, right? Because the more we do this and the more others that follow us do it, then we give more people unconscious permission to be that vulnerable, to be that raw, to open up and talk about things that might be painful, that you felt like you needed to isolate or contain to yourself at one point in time.
Yeah, that's powerful work. I wanted to speak a little bit to what was our guest's name who wrote in that said that she was healing her inner child?
That was Barbara Bigelow. Barbara Bigelow.
So Barbara, there's a song, I'm not going to play it today because I played it last night, but it's called The Light Inside. It's on my Spotify. And I'm Johanna OneHeart, ONEHEART, and it's called The Light Inside. And it's a prayer to the inner child to heal after all of this, after going through losing people, after the life that we live, to go back and pray with that child and help it remember who it really is and help us remember who we really are. So you might enjoy that prayer.
Thank you, Johanna. And I'm noticing also in our Zoom room, Nadia wrote, Aloha. This is in relationship to your song, I'm weeping. Mahalo so much. So thank you, Nadia. Thank you.
It sounds like it's time for an upbeat song. Like, oh no.
Well, you know, I see that's life though. You know, we went from laughter, yoga, and laughing to the depth, and that's that. I love that. I mean, isn't the greatest, whatever it is, dinner conversation or even lovemaking, you go, you know, highs and lows and laughter and sadness, because that's the rainbow of life, right?
Yeah.
So yes, for an upbeat song, but I do want to acknowledge a different kind of addiction that Dr. Snootopia asks about in the chat box. So I'll go back to gallery view. I had it on, spotlighted on Johanna. So Dr. Snootopia, who's also one of our regulars, thank you for being here, writes, everyone in America wants to get back to normal, in quotes. Well, the normal use of fossil fuel is an addiction that is destroying our atmosphere. What is the moral thing to do about this collective addiction? So now that's an interesting question. We've been talking about personal addictions, but what about the collective addiction? Maybe that's an ecclesiastical. Jerry, I'm tossing the football in your direction.
Well, maybe reframe the question again.
Well, it's about, if we look at the pandemic,
Yeah.
from the point of view that it was a global experience. It wasn't just, a tidal wave hit Bali. It wasn't just an earthquake in Colombia. The entire planet, all human beings were impacted by this pandemic, and it slowed us all down. Airplane travel, car travel dramatically slowed down. And I think I've heard multiple people on Saturday Night Live that when we've done our environmental shows say, we cannot and we do not want to go back to normal because normal was not sustainable. Normal was killing the planet because of climate change and what our dear friend Dr. Newtopia is bringing up is the collective addiction to fossil fuels, the collective, and I'll expand it out, the collective addiction to anything we were doing or have been doing that is providing immediate gratification, but not holistic, not sustainable. So I think it's a question about moving from an individual addiction that we might have to alcohol or pornography or gambling or drugs to the human collective macro addiction.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like a culture that we have that we like instant everything. We like to push a button and the car goes, and we like to flip a switch and the electric goes. And I think that we are learning to rethink instant gratification and instant things and think more of long term. What is the effect of doing this choice that I'm making long term? And like you say, it's going to require a complete cultural shift for us to switch. I've kind of upgraded the idea of sustainable to regenerative, because I really like the idea of regenerative when we're thinking of something like the native cultures and so forth. We really need to bring some of those conscious understandings that the natives have and regenerate our whole culture after, you might say, colleague finishes cleaning the slate, as you said earlier.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, thank you for that. Do you have any thoughts about that, Leland?
Yeah. So, just like in the addiction space, when I was addicted to heroin or meth or any of these horrible substances, besides the shame that we, obviously stick ourselves in to keep ourselves in that space, it's the lack of alternatives or thinking of those alternatives. For instance, for me, yoga was huge because I didn't realize I could get high on my own supply. I don't have to have the horrible drugs and, all these things to numb the pain or to deal with that pain. So I think on the collective sense, it's the same thing as all of us exploring those alternatives and those other options and realizing that those options are available to us. And then all of us working toward that, pushing the cart in the same direction will help that collective addiction to the fossil fuels that we've all been stuck on forever.
Beautiful. And Johanna, I'm putting the spotlight on you.
Yeah, wake up. It's been an interesting year for me with this, and because I did choose to totally honor the Mother Earth and stay grounded here for a year. And I had been touring for 10 years, just pretty much sold my house 5 years ago, maybe, bought a bigger RV. And then I started renting out my rig. So I'm having an ethical dilemma around this, because now not only am I having my Prius, which is kind of good, but it's not quite there, on the road, but also I have my rig on the road at the same time with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try and give back by planting trees and doing work parties to help the environment. We lost our family cabin at Brighton Bush Hot Springs in Oregon this last year. It was kind of going to be, you know, my uncle lived there as a child for 9 years. It was kind of the home away from home, the sanctuary. And as all of us seekers know who have been there and received teachings from Ram Dass, Krishna Das, all of the most amazing teachers have come through there over the last 30 years. It's quite a big loss. They are rebuilding now. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is go out and help plant the seedlings there because they've been clear cutting after the forest fire. And so, you know, we're having this right and left hand everywhere we go, you know, so being more conscientious around our collective consciousness and choosing to create things that are more sustainable and maybe giving back with those things to the environment as we destroy the environment is an important thing.
Yeah.
In any way that we can, whether it's planting trees, recycling, all of the other, you know, using biodegradable glitter, by the way, girls. Glitter is awful for the fish. It's killing the fish. I sell it, but you can buy it anywhere. There's so many things that we are not aware of. Educate yourselves on how you can do things. There's so many ways that we can do things differently. Zero waste options, you know? And so as we wake up, as we come out of this collective slumber, so to speak, I think to awaken with that waking up or become woke and, you know, in all of the ways with the environment and with our fellow humans is the work that we had this reset and now we're given a chance to do things differently.
Beautiful.
However that is.
Beautiful. Thank you. You are on fire here. I'm just like, you're bringing it through. I'm going to read a final comment from, actually 2 final comments from our speakers, and then ask Johanna to complete us with a song. Nadia writes, I'm so grateful for the tears, grateful for each of you, and for the, oh my God, for the love, the wisdom, the presence you each hold. Mahalo for cracking my heart open, still another crack. Laugh and cry and making love every moment, every breath. What else is there? Love, 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 love you all. Thank you, Nadia. What a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. And Claudine writes, there are right now free power alternatives that can be developed if we choose. Absolutely. Absolutely. All the free power we need is out there, and we just need the collective will to go in that direction. You're muted, Johanna.
We're going to have all electric cars only being made by the year, what was it, 2020?
2030.
2030. Okay,
Yeah,
it's not
2030.
2020 something. Anyway, we're going there as a collective is the good news, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Johanna, would you be willing to complete us with one last musical? Johanna?
Oh, you're so kind. I feel like I monopolized our time, though. Are you sure no one else wants to say anything? You allowed me to speak and sing today, so it's
All
really
right,
hard for me not to.
all right, Jerry, are you ready to sing a song, Jerry? Are you going
Dang it!
Leland,
dang
are you
it.
ready to do lullaby yoga?
Leland, you want to do a
Switching
lullaby
roles
yoga?
here.
Oh my goodness, I am a singer, but I'd rather listen to Johanna.
It's all yours, Johanna.
All right. Oh, wait, I'm not doing a lullaby song. You said lullaby yoga. I'm like, let's go. I've got my guitar.
Yeah, no. That's the joking, asking Leland if he was ready.
Okay. Here, I got to get my chair out of the way because we're going to go. This one, you can clap along. You can clap and do a whole thing.
Okay.
Or you could just sing. Can you take a moment just to breathe, just to be? Can you take a moment just to breathe? Okay? Can you take a moment just to breathe, just to be? Can you take a moment just to breathe? Can you take a moment just to breathe, just to be? Can you take a moment just to breathe? Can you take a moment just to breathe, just to be? Can you take a moment just to just to breathe, just to breathe. Can you take a moment just to breathe? Can you take a moment just to know my name? And can you breathe to the right? Just to can you defy gravity? Can you take a moment just to heart to the earth? When you breathe, take a moment just to rhythm and song. You're free to decide just to what is your reality. Free to decide just to can you defy gravity? Free to decide that you are free. Take a moment just to breathe. Can you take a moment just to breathe? Just to breathe. Can you take a moment just to breathe? Can you take a moment just to breathe? Just to breathe. Can you take a moment just to breathe? Mother, do you know my name? And when you take a moment just to listen to your name, and you're free to decide what is your reality. Free to decide just to can you defy gravity? Free to decide just to know my name. And can you free to moment just to listen to your veins? And can you take a moment just to can you take a moment? Can you take a moment? Can you take a moment just to know my name? And can you free to decide just to can you defy gravity? Can you take a moment just to free to decide? Yeah, what is your reality? What is your reality? Free to decide just to know my name. Free to decide. Can you defy gravity? Can you take a moment just to rhythm just to rhythm and song. You're free to decide just to know my name. Can you defy gravity? Just your heart to the earth. What is your reality? Free to decide. Can you defy gravity? Free to decide that you are free.
Fantastic. Well, we're almost done, but I do want to let people know that you can get a lot more of Johanna by going to johannasings.com. And again, that's Johanna spelled Johanna, sings.com. And she does all sorts of stuff. You can get one-on-one coaching with this gal. Vocal coaching. And of course, we've talked a lot about lullaby yoga. She's got music. She's got all sorts of things on her website. You're amazing, all that you do. I'm going to briefly go to the website here and look at everything that's happening there. She's got, if you take a look at the sliders, she's got albums, she's got her coaching, she's got online events. She's got something I want to highlight. We focused on it before when she was on the show. Check out Mantra Sangha, Health and Healing. It's an incredible music video that she put together with all these remarkable people, including Krishna Das and many, many others. It's a beautiful video, beautiful song. And of course, buy her music. Look at all these albums that she's got, including with Mikey Pocker, who we've had on the show. And the way that you weave together yoga, mantra with your music, health and healing, it's really, it's extraordinary what you do, Johanna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's really lovely to continue to share the heart medicine, and thank you for opening up a space where it can be received and benefit many.
I also, we didn't talk that much about it, but I want to acknowledge what Leland is doing. And please, everybody, go check out warriorsforlifeamerica.org, warriorsforlifeamerica.org. And he's doing such important work helping our wounded warriors, or our nation's heroes, as he puts them. And they're the military, the first responders, our veterans. It's so important for us to support them. And Leland, you are a hero doing what you're doing to support them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jerry, our Wild Abbott, Mystic Monastery, thank you. And we're going to do, when things open up again, we're going to do a big retreat in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'm serious about wanting to get Leland and Johanna to our earlier retreats, definitely. So a reminder, next Friday night, we're going to be, kind of carrying on this theme. I know a lot of you that were on the show watching today watched last night's show. And every Friday night, I do a show called Straight Talk with my partner, Trish. And we are next week going to be doing, continuing this on. We're going to have TJ Woodward and Roland Williams. They were both on Saturday Night Alive last night. And we're going to have them both on the show again. Really going in depth, all about conscious recovery and wholehearted.org. So please join us next Friday night. Wholehearted.org is doing great work, and they're going to start doing more and more work with us with Saturday Night Live. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you, Jerry. I love you so much. Thank you, Johanna. You are such an inspiration. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, those watching the replay. And again, remember that you can support us by sharing this out. Share this out with your friends. We are building a beautiful, great global tribe, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. So we're all a part of it. Thank you, everybody. God's blessings. Have a beautiful day.